All right, Shalom, Shalom, family. All praise to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakakodash. Coming to the family with another breakdown of the scriptures. Nothing very long at all. I just wanted to go over basically two scriptures. I know a lot is going on in this world, and we're all going through certain things in our lives, but we got to remember to be strong and keep our faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and not let it falter, no matter what comes and what challenges come, but to remember Him, remember Yahweh Shai and that blood that He shed for His children, for the elect. Okay, the 144 and the 1/3, and understand what that blood means, for us. And the name of the Father is Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, and the name of the Son is Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Okay, and the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans make up the 12 tribes of Israel. Those are the true Hebrew Israelites, the people of the Bible. Okay, that's who we are. So, in saying that, let's get into these few scriptures. I hope this is edifying. Okay, I know I'm going through some stuff right now, and so I kind of was thinking of some things and scriptures, and so I want to read about Job and Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Okay, I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of scriptures, but just trying to prove some points and understanding of their faith through their trials. Okay, so let's get into it real quick. I'm going to read Job 1 through 22, okay? There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared Yahweh, and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. Substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sacrificed them. Salakia, sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned, and cursed Yahweh in their hearts. Thus did Job continuously. Okay, so Job was, because they're partying and doing their thing, Job was like, well, I'm going to sacrifice these goats for them because they may have sinned. Okay? That's why it says, it may be that my sons have sinned. So he was doing it just in case, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they're doing, so that's what Job did. Now, there was a day when the sons of God, okay, which are the angels and the smaller gods, right, came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them, okay? Satan came. So we got to remember that, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is in control of all things, and Satan is his servant, okay? So read that again. Verse 6, now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, okay? And Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there be none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth Yahweh, and escheweth evil. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear Yahweh for naught? Has not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and the substance and increase in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. So the Lord, Yahweh, was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to tell you what my servant's going to do, but you think otherwise? Okay, fine. Take what he got. Take his stuff. I'm telling you what he's going to do. Okay? So verse 13, and there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. All right? And there came a messenger unto Job and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabeans fell upon them and took them away. They have slain the seventh with the hedge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone, to tell them. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The fire of Yahweh is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The Chaldeans made out their bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away. Yea, the slain, the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The sons and the daughters eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote them four corners of the house, and fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground, and worshipped, and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. All this Job sinned not, nor charged Yahweh falsely. So after all that was done, so Job had everything. And Yahweh, at the meeting, the great meeting in heaven, and Satan came, and Yahweh said, Have you considered my servant Job? And so after all the things that Satan, right, the deceiver, spiritual demon Satan, put upon Job, and Job still did not reject the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Yahweh, okay? Because his faith was strong, okay? Job had everything taken from him. Everything. His wife cursed him. She didn't believe. And the moral of this story is, because the faith of Job was so strong, that the Lord blessed him with more than what he had the first time. So we got to understand, fam. We got to understand that we're going to go through some things because of our faith, because of this truth. But we got to understand and know that the Lord will bring us out of it when it's time. Because it's not on our time, it's on his time, okay? The next scripture I want to read briefly is Daniel 3:16-28, real quick. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said unto the king. So I'm just skipping to verse 16. I'm trying to get to the point. O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand. Okay? But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So basically, Nebuchadnezzar put up this this idol, this golden idol, and he had all the people of the land worship this thing, okay? But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to go against our power. So if you want to do that, then you go ahead and do it. And we'll take the consequences, right? Basically. Verse 19. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury. Nebuchadnezzar was pissed. And the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more. So he was like, Nebuchadnezzar was so pissed. He's like, man, listen, the fiery furnace, man, heat it up 7 times more. Okay? And we got to think about, the numbers. Okay, 7 is a number of completion, complete number. So just think about that. More than it was want to be heated. So it was more. And he commanded the most highly men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and cast them into the fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. 22. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, that furnace was burning, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So the flame was so hot, he was trying to, the guards, whatever, was taking them to the heat to put them in there, and they burnt up. So think about that. They burnt up, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't, even on their way over there. That's how it was so hot. So that was a miracle right then, and they're not even in there yet. Okay, 23. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. 24. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astounded, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the into the fire? And they answered and said unto the king, true, king. He's in 25. And he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loosed walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. So that was Yahushua in there. Okay. 26. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fiery furnace, of the midst of the fire. And the prince and the governors and the captains and the kings and the counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was it a hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. They were in this fiery furnace and came out of there and probably smelled like apples. You know what I'm saying? Some ginger or something, whatever kind of, like, they didn't smell like no fire. Nothing burnt. You know what I mean? It smelled like they usually smell, probably. Okay? 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have sent his angel and delivered his servant that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word, and yielded the bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God, Yahweh. That's faith right there. So through their trial and tribulation, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was like, nope, you know what? Listen, you got to do you, and we got to do us. So good luck with y'all, and because we already know what's in store for us. Okay, we already know the Lord is with us. Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we know that. Okay, and so that's just going back to that faith and trusting in our power, trusting in our power and in the true name, not Jesus. That is not our power's name. Okay, that's the power of the heathen. Okay, Esau, that's their power. Okay, the 2/3 of our people. Our power is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay? So, the next thing I want to read here real quick, and then I'm done, is Daniel 6, and I'm going to read 7 through 24, okay? 7 through 24. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes and the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask of a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he hath, Salakia, king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. So basically, King Darius set this decree that no one could worship any other god except him, or no god, but only to praise King Darius for 30 days. So he put a decree out, okay? Verse 8, now, O king, establish the decree and sign that writing, that it be not changed, according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not. Okay, so they made a decree. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house. So Daniel, check this out. So the decree was put out, King Darius signed it. So all the kings, the governors, the princes, the counselors, the police, all their authority figures, everybody knew that it was signed. That's what it is. So that's the law. It's signed and written. Daniel knew this. And watch what Daniel did. Okay? 10. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being opened in his chamber toward Jerusalem. So he opened a window. He kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his power, as he did all the time. That's what he did. That's what he always did. Okay? Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his power. See, so how did they find him? Because Daniel had that window open, so he didn't care who saw him. He's like, listen, man, the window's open, man. This is what I do. I always do this. But because of this decree, now y'all want to start talking mess, and now y'all want to start some trouble. So this is what y'all want to do. So verse 12, Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save thee, except thee, right, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? So that's what they're saying. Didn't you say that? You know what I mean? You said if anybody worship anybody else within this time frame, they got to get thrown in the den. Then king answered and said, the thing is true. Like, yes, I did say that. According to the law and that decree, the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not, so they don't change. Then, verse 13, then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity. We know who the captivity is, right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Okay, because we were cast to the 4 corners of the earth due to our disobedience against Yahweh, right? That's why we were scattered. The captivity, we went into captivity by the way of slave ships, by the way of we were taken captive to all around the world. Okay, so that's going back to Deuteronomy 28. So let's continue. Captivity of 13. I'll read that part again. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, right, and guardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And the King Darius, he's pissed off. Okay, he's like, I'm gonna get him. continue on, and he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. 15. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, Now, O king, that the law of the Medes and the Persians is, that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. So there's no change. You already signed it. It's done. Then the king commanded, they brought Daniel and cast him into the lion's den. Right? Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the dens, so locked him in there. You know, those big stones, those rolling stones, you know, those things is, I mean, it takes a lot of men to pull that to you know, so he rolled him in there, and those stones. And the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. So he's in there, they can't let him out until it's done. And you can't change it. You know what I'm saying? Basically, nothing can be changed. Verse 18. Then the king went into his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste into the lion's den. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lament voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living power, is this thy power whom thou servest continually able to deliver thee from the lions? Verse 21. Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My power hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocence was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. So Daniel was like, listen, man, didn't even do nothing to you. But because you don't want me to do what you want, you don't want me to, you know what I mean? Like, you're pissed at me because I'm not doing what you asked. And it's against my power, okay? So I'm not doing it. So I didn't do nothing to you. Yet you want to put me in the den and set an example, but your example failed, okay? Basically. 23. Then was the king exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken out of the den, and no more hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his power. Last verse, 24. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the lion's den, them their children and their wives, and the lions had mastery over them. So he threw them in there, and he threw his wives and his kids in there. Hold on, let me read that again. 24. And the king commanded that they brought those men which had accused Daniel. So the guys who accused Daniel of praying, which it was a decree, so they were following orders, right? They're following orders. They made a decree. They went and told King Darius. King Darius said, yes, I did make the decree. So go get them, throw them in there. And the miracle that happened, you know, like I said, it says, 23, it says, then the king was exceeding glad for him. So then the king was glad for Daniel, like, whoa. Because that was a miracle. Like, man, you were supposed to get eaten alive, bro. And it didn't happen? Okay, well, bring those who's talking, who brought these charges upon you, bring them here and throw them in the den. And they cast them into the den of lions. Them. So not only did they cast the men who charged him, they cast their children and their wives in the lion's den. Okay? And the lions ripped them up in pieces, ate them all. That tells you how strong our power is. You put your faith and trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, you will always be there for us, his children, his elect, okay? Call upon his name, his true name. So, I hope this lesson was edifying. What, I'm about 24 minutes. Peace and salutations and blessings to the elect and the 1/3 of our nation. Remember to continue to pray and put your faith in Yahweh Shemi Shai each day, even when things are going rough and hard and when things are going well. And understand that He is in control of all things. Isaiah 45:7. He forms the light, He creates darkness, He makes peace, and He creates evil. He doth all things. And we got to remember that. All right? All right, hope this lesson was edifying. Till next time I say, Shalom.